We are recording now.
Yes, we are. Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm Tim from Las Vegas.
I'm Sam from the Pacific Northwest, Washington State. Hello, everyone.
And here we are on another Wednesday. I don't know about you, Sam, but the weather down here is absolutely spectacular. It's
Oh, hush.
You still got snow up there?
No, we're not gonna. I think we're done with snow this year. I don't think we're gonna get some surprise Easter snow like we did a couple years ago. We're getting a lot of rain right now, which is not bad. It's helping everything kind of green up, and we've got plants all over our yard that are starting to bud and sprout and come back to life. They're the perennials that are kept in our yard, and so it's fun seeing that happen. I mowed my lawn for the first time ever because when we moved into the house, grass wasn't growing. And so the first time that we've ever mowed my lawn here happened this past weekend. So, we're having actually good weather too. The only difference is that we're getting probably a lot of overcast weather, but the temperature has somewhat stabilized for spring. For the ramp going into spring, we're still getting down in the 30s in the morning, but usually the afternoons are in about the 50s and 60s. So we're about to launch full head into spring.
Nice, yeah. It's a wonderful time of year here. It's nice and temperate, moderate, not too hot. Just really, really enjoy the time. So, but other than that, I haven't been doing a whole lot. Just trying to rest up. I'm getting ready. Heading out to the gathering next week. You haven't been in a few years.
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't been to the gathering in a long time. And it's just one of those times where in the year where if you got kids in school, it's just a hard thing. It's a hard time of year to break away.
Yes.
Because like extracurricular activities, spring activities are in full swing. And it's like, Aiden's practicing with the soccer team. He's also playing flag football. Daphne and Dante are getting ready for marching season because Dante's in the band, Daphne's in the color guard. On top of that, it's Daphne's senior year, so she's got all this other stuff going on, getting ready to go to college next year at WSU. So it's like there's just too much going on. And April specifically, is a hard time for me to break away. And I think that's usually when the gathering happens.
Yes.
So, and then you've got Easter this year thrown in there. What in the world? What happened to Easter this year? The third week? That's weird.
Is it really?
It's usually, I don't know. I've always attributed the beginning of April to Easter. Like I thought it was like the first Sunday or something like that. But apparently not. I was mistaken.
I think it moves all over the place, actually. I think...
I'm sure it probably does. I'm usually mistaken about a great many things. But...
Because there's a Jewish holiday around this time now, too, right? And I think there's I think the same thing with Easter with that. I think there could be like a 3 to 4 week difference, like year to year, like when the holiday actually happens. Like it just...
That might be true. I've just always attributed the beginning, like when we got that snow, the first week of April, a couple years ago, we got like 2 feet dumped on us, and then we were I talked about this before. Our pastor was like in foot deep snow somewhere, shivering, saying, "We're still having Easter at the camp, the fairgrounds this weekend. Come on out." And by the time the weekend came around, it was all cleared up again. And that was the first week of April. So I guess that's just left an indelible mark on me. And so, but anyway, I just thought it was weird that it was so late this year. But yeah,
it
is what it is.
But how about games? You had a chance to play any games in the past little bit?
Yes. Matter of fact, last week we played printing press live on the channel, and in order to teach myself for that, I played it solo as well. Printing press is like the successor to Gutenberg, and it's supposed to be
Oh,
kind of
right.
like this kind of the same theme, but not as heavy of a game that Gutenberg was. And it's published by Grana. Lucas Wozniak is one of the designers. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the other guy's name because, holy cow, Europeans need to learn how to use vowels, dude. I'm just saying they need to do that. But it's I joke, but Lucas Wozniak is a designer that I've been able to meet and spend some time with, and I've liked a lot of his different games. So that was the reason why it came up. I was this close from not buying it because it's got a cat on the cover of it, and I'm like, no, I'm not buying into that crap.
Not a cat fan, huh?
No, I am not a cat fan. By the way, all right, we're going to put a little parentheses around this section. Do you know how much it costs to have a cat groomed if all of the grooming places around town have blacklisted your cat because he's such a jerk? You know how much it costs if you have to take him to the vet to get him cut, groomed? $330
So you obviously have a cat or have had a cat.
a freaking haircut. We have a cat. When we found that out, we almost had a cat. But anyway, back to almost didn't buy this game because it has a cat on the cover of it. Anyway, Printing Press, we actually really did enjoy this game. It's a neat game where you basically have all of these frames, and these frames are like exactly that. They have a cutout on them, but at the top they have some scoring conditions, and at the bottom they have some in-game scoring conditions. And the game basically plays in 3 rounds. At the beginning of the round, you're going to choose one of those frames that you're going to build at the end of the first round, or at the end of whatever round you're in. And then in between building the frame and picking the frame, you have 5 or 6 rounds of choosing cards that are going to be placed in a pattern on your tableau. And that frame is going to encase a 3x3 grid. And at the top, the scoring conditions are elements that it's going to want inside that 3x3 grid. And then at the bottom, the in-game scoring, you're going to basically be able to score some extra points if the elements that you've chosen are in all of your frames at the end of the game. And so it's basically this tile laying game where you're trying to build out what is eventually going to be at the end of the round, that 3x3 grid. And it's really interesting. There's drafting, which I love drafting, and it's one of my favorite mechanisms. And there is also that kind of spatial organization mechanism that's at work, because you're building out your tableau with all of these different elements, but you're not actually locking in your frame until the end of the round. So while you may have a 6x7 grid in front of you, you probably won't have that big of a grid, but just for the example, you may have a 6x7 grid in front of you, but you can place that frame wherever you want within that 6x7 grid, and only what's inside the frame is what counts for that round. I just thought it was a really interesting mechanism, and it captures that theme of typesetting back in the old days with the printing press, where you had to basically build letter by letter what is going to be put on the paper. It captures that feeling rather well, especially for how light the game is. So I really did enjoy the game a lot. I've enjoyed the solo mode. And I've enjoyed the multiplayer. We only played it 3 players so far once, but and I think it only goes up to 4. So it's not like it's going to be a huge jump to go to max player count. But I also want to try it with 2 as well. But 2 and 1, the setup is very similar. You just in a single player mode, you do have an AI that you have to run, but it's a well-oiled AI, and it's not difficult to run at all. So it does feel very good as a solo mode as well.
Gutenberg Light?
Oh, Well, I watched Chris and Tom did a review on Printing Press, and they both said that Gutenberg is very much a different game.
Okay.
But I think it, and again, I've never played Gutenberg, but from what they've said, I think it shares some of the same mechanisms and ideas. It's just that there's more to it in Gutenberg than there is in Printing Press. So
Okay.
I think they both said that they are very different games. Um, but they probably carry a very similar vibe. I would imagine.
Yeah, because Gutenberg is fantastic. I haven't played Gutenberg in a while, but when it first came out,
Yeah.
played it quite a few times actually. 5 or 6
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
Very good game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's one of the things that opened me up to it to begin with is Johann Gutenberg and his invention of the printing press and the historical tie that's there. That's what really kind of put it on my radar. I couldn't have cared less about the cats, because a little round markers, a little cat paw. Oh,
yeah.
isn't that cute? No, it's stupid. Anyway, that's that.
Oh, okay. Oh, very good. Um, well, a game that I've actually I got to last night was my third time in a week. I've played this game in the past week, and
Okay.
just absolutely loving it. And I'm so fortunate because getting to go to the gathering next week, I'll have like 2 weeks, and I'll probably play it. I'm sure 5 or 6 times over there. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, it's Galactic Cruise, and
Oh, yeah.
man, let me tell you,
That's gonna get the mess played out of it at the gathering. I can almost
yeah,
guarantee.
yes, it is. I'm debating. I mean, it's such a big game, but
Mhm.
I'm debating whether to bring it with me just so I know I can have it to play because I know, like, yeah, if there's 2 or 3 copies here, they're gonna be played all the time. So
You can probably just go buy clothes at a Goodwill wherever the gathering is. So just put it in your luggage.
yeah,
Go
exactly.
buy clothes at Goodwill.
Because it's a whole
Leave the
suitcase.
clothes behind. This
Yeah.
is actually a thing. Did you know this?
What's that?
People will do this for conventions. They will take empty luggage
Oh,
or
then go
empty
buy clothes.
luggages, and they don't bring any clothes. They just go to a Goodwill and buy clothes for the week. When they're done, they leave all the clothes in the garbage or whatever, or they donate it back, whatever, I don't know. And then they use their empty luggages to carry all the games back that they bought. That's what people actually do.
yeah,
I'm like, y'all got issues.
that's a little bit too much. Yeah, I'm not gonna go that far, but yeah, because Galactic Cruise, the box itself it's almost a suitcase. You can just wrap it and put it in
It's
the.
huge.
Yeah, it is
Yes.
huge. But yeah, it's and again, it's one of those kind of games that I'm looking forward to playing another 10 times because there's
Mm,
just so much to get out of it. And
yes.
the thing about it again, I know we've talked about theme a lot of times, but what really helped me with this game is like the theming, right? Like why
Yep.
you're doing things. Like you have to schedule a
Yes.
cruise because the whole concept, and if people don't know, I'll just go over real quick. Is you're trying to run a company, you got to build ships, like a cruise ship, but in space, right? And you have to put rooms in it or different things on. You have to sell ads. You have to advertise the guests to get them on the cruise. You have to schedule a cruise. You have to launch a cruise. You have to
Mhm.
feed, all that kind of stuff. It's just so good. There's just so much. And it's one of those kind of things. The first time, of course, I'm just not knowing what's going on, trying to figure it out. Second time, I said, okay, I'm going to try this that I learned from the first game, and it didn't work, but I learned more. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just didn't do well in the game, but at least I learned a lot. And then last night, I did fairly well. I kind of understood now how things move and go. And it's one of the people I played with last night told me that F guy, I think his name is from No Pun Included,
Yeah.
was saying about how that if you really want to try to like get into like a heavy game, say I'm ready to step up or I want to get into like a really really heavy game, like Lacerda level or something like that.
Yeah.
That he said that he would recommend Galactic Cruise because it has a lot of the elements that you would know from a lot of games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you're trying to do things, the mechanisms and stuff, you're like, oh, I know that. I'm familiar with that, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
blah.
Mhm.
But it's just a matter of figuring out the puzzle. And that's my whole thing, right?
Yeah.
With my type of games, I like the puzzle games. Like I need to, okay, this piece needs to go there in order for this piece. Oh, this piece fits there. So those two work together to get this and get that and figure your whole thing out. And yeah, it's phenomenal, Sam. I'm gonna make a prediction here. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say that because like Arc Nova, right? Arc Nova shot up the BGG, and I don't know where it is now, but it's probably in the top 10, I think now or something, right? It's way up there.
I can check. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. So, but my prediction is, I mean, I don't know how fast, or I don't know how their algorithm works or how it gets slated, but I'm going to say within 2 years, in 2 years, Galactic Cruise will be in the top 20 on BGG.
Top 20. You think it's going to take that long? 2 years?
Again, I mean, I don't know how, like if they need a certain amount of number of votes to get up there. Like, I just don't know how it works. I don't know how games move up the chart.
Sure.
But yeah,
Arc Nova is ranked 3 overall, and it's ranked 3 also as a strategy game. So
okay,
there you go.
And so yeah, Galactic Cruise, in my opinion, is going to have that sort of meteoric rise like Arc Nova did, because Arc Nova got there quick, right? It shot up really quick. Galactic Cruise, I would argue, is, I'm not going to say significantly heavier. And it's not like heavy. It's just there's a lot. So I guess that would be heavy. I mean, I don't know, but it's so that's my prediction. It's going to be in the top 20 within the next 2 years, and it's one of those kind of things. After 3-4 years, I can see it even sneaking up into the top 10 and staying there for a while.
Galactic Cruise right now is rated by the community as a 3.89 out of 5, and Arc Nova is a 3.78. So
it's not that much different.
They're about equal. I would I've played both, and I've played both exactly once. I would say they're about the same weight, but I think Galactic Cruise is a much better designed game. And the reason I say that is because they've taken all of that heft and they've made a completely smooth ride out of it. Some of the things in Arc Nova just were clunky to me. I really don't like how Arc Nova scores their points at the end of the game. I hate that, the whole taking the average between the two that you've scored, and you have to score this much. I hated that. And Galactic Cruise just seemed more intuitive. It took all that heft and made it make sense, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So I've only played both once, but I completely enjoyed Galactic Cruise much better than Arc Nova. Arc Nova to me felt like work, and then you got kicked in the face at the end of it. Galactic Cruise was heavy, and it was difficult to do well. It was a very tight game, but it was intuitive, and it was thematic, and it made sense. And I walked away thinking, this is not a game I'm going to buy, but this is a game that I will probably play if somebody wants to play it, because I did enjoy the experience, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it much better than Arc Nova. So take that for what it's worth.
I just find it hard that they're only like 1/10 of a point difference or something.
Well, again, that's the community. That's the community weighing in on that. Yeah.
But again, it's people, who are the gamers. I mean, especially the ones who take the time to vote or do whatever. Right. Level, right? That's above me, because I don't waste my time doing that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But it just seems like, I guess, I don't know, to try to make an analogy. See, in Arc Nova, it seems like there's A, B, C, D, E to get to F. So it's sort of not, the puzzle is quick. But in Galactic Cruise, it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, O to get to P. It seems like there's a lot more things you need to do to get things running, by the time you get the cruise and the launch, and, you got to, it just,
Right. But it all made sense, though, thematically. That's the thing. That's why I'm such a huge proponent of the theme. Sometimes theme can take all of these lofty mechanisms and puzzles and all of that kind of stuff, and it makes sense because of the theme. Whereas if there's not as good a connection between the theme and the mechanisms, you're left going, wow, this feels really, really difficult. But with a good theme on there, you're like, oh yeah, well, yeah, this is not easy, but it makes sense. So that's why I like to use that word intuitive. A theme can make abstract mechanisms seem intuitive.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why I think it's so important.
Yeah, because for example, like in Galactic Cruise, when you're on the ship, if you have, like, say, orange passengers, and you have orange, like if you have activities that cater to orange passengers, then you get more benefits in your day in space, because it's like you have more, when you're just floating around in space on the cruise ship, you have more activities for the orange people to enjoy. So that kind of, makes sense. And then when you go to a orange planet, for instance, and say you got, people have to get off the ship and go visit the planet, and you have, say, an orange, a purple, and a blue passenger, but you're on an orange planet, you have to advertise more to the blue and purple people on the orange planet to go out and do stuff, because that's not really where they want to be or their kind of thing, but that's where the orange people want to be. So it doesn't cost you that much to advertise them. So it's really, really good. And I think these, the Kinson Key people, lovely people, by the way. I had a couple bit of communication with them for emails for, getting games to put in the hot games room at Dice Tower West. So they're both lovely. The designers, I'm not going to say both. I don't know how many, but anyway, I believe they're first time designers, and boy, they kicked this out of the park and nailed it. The production, the rules, the cruise handbook. I'm so proud of them, right? They don't know who I am. It's like, they don't care what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just so proud that they did such a fantastic job. I mean, you can tell the love, the devotion, the dedication. They just did it right. They didn't plan. I know we've talked about this before, Sam. They didn't like make a game, in my opinion, and plan, okay, hey, 3 years later, we're going to put out a super duper deluxe version. So let's hold back on the components and, blah, blah, blah. No, they just did everything really, really well. I really applaud them. And I'm so excited to just now I can just happily say Galactic Cruise will be part of my gaming life for the very foreseeable future.
While Kinson Key is a first-time publisher, I believe the three guys that are behind Kinson Key Games, I think only two of them are rookies, and I use that word lightly. I don't mean it to be derogatory at all, but I think two of them are rookies, and one of them is somewhat of a veteran. He's been around, and I can't remember which one is which. Right. I also know, however, because the only time that I've played this game, it was on the Dice Tower Cruise 2 years ago, when it was still in prototype form, and we got to talk to. And again, I'm horrible with names. I can't remember who it was. If JT were here, he would look at me like I'm stupid and then say the name. But the guy that taught it to us was one of the guys from Kinson Key Games, and he also shared with us some of the background of how much help Ian O'Toole gave. Now, Ian O'Toole, you know him because he's been around the block many, many times. He's an artist. He did the artwork for it, but he also helped them with the graphic design of all of the elements of the game as well.
Right. Yeah.
So he didn't just say, here's your artwork, where's my paycheck? He was like, here's your artwork, and let me help you with, I guess part of his contract was, let me help you with graphic design. Let me help you with what fonts you use and where you place things on your boards and all of that kind of stuff. So while they're first-time producers, there was a lot of experience in that team working on Galactic Cruise. And I think that's probably a huge testament towards its success.
Yes.
You had people that were passionate gamers, but you also had some experienced publisher or some experienced publishing talent behind it.
Yes, and another thing I just really want to give them credit towards, and more people, especially now in our digital age with internet communication, all that kind of stuff. Because last night we had about two, I can remember two, it might have been three, hey, BGG forum questions, or you know what I mean, like look up things like this or that.
Yeah.
And they are very, I thought.
Yeah, you gave it a thumbs up. Good job.
That thing pops up there. It's they're very active in the community as far as with their game, and they're not the only ones, of course. There are other designers who do that. I know Fabio Lopiano is very good. I love his games. He's very good on the forum. Blah blah blah. So I would put out an appeal to all designers, publishers, whatever, that when you have a game that is released, you should have some of your staff or whoever kind of monitor those things just to help support your game, because people are going to have questions. They want to play it.
Absolutely.
So you should be available there answering that stuff. And they do a fantastic job with them. So I just give them kudos all the way around with everything.
Absolutely deserved. Yes. That's hard work. And let me tell you, that's hard work. Keeping up on everybody's questions when you have a game released.
Yep.
I know I know full well from experience that is very difficult work, especially when you have so many outlets for people to come and ask you questions.
Yes.
BGG is one. The campaign page, if you ran a Kickstarter, or the GameFound page, if you ran a GameFound. If you have questions coming in through a website, your day can very easily get filled up. A full 8 to 10 hour day can very easily get filled up just answering questions.
Yes.
And so that is hard work. So yes, very much so. Kudos.
Yeah, and also, like you said, they were on Dice Tower Cruise a couple years ago. The friend of mine who backed them, because I was like, how did you know this was going to be a great game? He's like, oh, well, at Gen Con a couple years ago, he goes, I went over to their table or whatever, they had a booth or whatever, talked to the designer, he explained to me, I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. So they also, from just hearing stories, like you said on the cruise, they also did their work ahead of time, right? Very well to get out there, spread the message and all that kind of stuff. So from A to Z until, from A, initial development and look from whatever to Z, the full development delivered game, those guys have done a fantastic job.
The only reason it was on my radar for Dice Tower Cruise a couple of years ago at PAX Unplugged. They had a booth at PAX Unplugged.
There you go. See,
a buddy of mine that was at PAX with me, he said, hey, you need to go by and check out Galactic Cruise. It looks like something you'd like. It's heavy, but it looks like something, it's very thematic, tool artwork. You'll probably like it. And so I didn't get to try it there because their booth was like slammed. Everybody was wanting to try it out at PAX. And so I stopped by, I think maybe twice. I can't remember. Conventions usually are a blur for me, but yeah, I just say that to say that, yes, indeed, they did the footwork on the front end very much so. And that's really important.
Yeah, I'm also intrigued by the fact that if this is, they're a new publisher, first-time game, you said there was somebody with experience, but how do you get Ian O'Toole, right? Or why would you sort of even, is he just sort of like a free agent and like if you pay him or hire him, he'll do anybody? But it just, you know what I mean?
I believe he is. I don't know that he has a contract with any specific producer or publisher.
No. I'm not saying that, Sam. I'm just like, he's Ian O'Toole, right? He's like way up there for the designer in the board game industry. And it's like all of a sudden some first-time designer, hey, Ian, would you do the artwork for our game? He's like, well, you know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering how he would even pay attention or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I have. Let me just preface this by I have no idea how Ian runs his business practices, but it wouldn't surprise me. I'll put it that way. If these artists and graphic designers work on things that they want to work on, I would imagine that you probably have many requests. They probably have many requests, and they pick and choose what they want to work on and what they don't want to work on.
Of course,
I would imagine that has something to play with, something to play in that system. I would imagine he took a look at it and said, "This looks like something that could be really cool," and he said, "Let's do it."
That could be, but it also goes to show you that the whole team involved at Kinston Key Games
knew to go ask him.
Yes, they knew it and they felt it and they were willing, because I'm going to say this and I don't know. Ian O'Toole ain't cheap. Yeah, he ain't cheap. So, like, I don't know, but I'm going to be pretty sure he ain't cheap. But they knew and they were willing to pay him to do this game. Yeah, those guys just fantastic.
Yep. I agree. Well, then the next game that I'm going to talk about is I'm kind of, it's one of two, and I don't want to break the rules like I usually do and talk about two more. So I'm going to talk about Critter Kitchen.
Okay.
Critter Kitchen is a game that I actually learned at Dice Tower West from a gentleman and his wife from the UK, Nick and Sally, and they are they sat down and taught me and Jesse how to play. So we had a 4-player game, our first play, and we just really enjoyed ourselves. We were already fans of Flamecraft and Sandara Tang's artwork and Cardboard Alchemy's production quality and all of that kind of stuff. We were already kind of on board from that aspect, and it had a very similar, at least aesthetic, as far as how the game was set up. Not just the artwork, but how the game was set up. You have this very oblong play surface, just like you had in Flamecraft, and then you have things, locations that are put on that oblong shape, which is very much like Flamecraft. But the how you play the game is where there's a bit of a departure from Flamecraft. So I was very interested in it. My wife was very interested in it, being a fan of Flamecraft. And so we were kind of waiting for people to be seated at the table at the Hot Games, one of the two. You had 2 tables at the Hot Games for Critter Kitchen. And so we waited, and sure enough, it came by. So we zipped on over there and asked if they could teach us how to play. And he had just played a 7-player game of it the night before. Yeah, it goes up to 7 players. You have to add some pieces to the game in order to do that, but it all comes in the deluxe edition of the box. I don't know about the I would imagine the 6, 7-player pieces come in the non-deluxe version as well. But anyway, so we play that game, and before we're done with the game, Jesse tells me, order it. And so we jumped online and ordered. We found a deluxe edition that was Tanaki Games or something like that. I can't remember where it was, but we had it shipped home to us, and about a week after we had been home, it arrived. And we've played it a couple of times. I've played it solo, and I've also played it with 3 people at a game night at our church a couple of weeks ago. It is such a fun game. And I feel like there's so much in the box. There's so many modular expansions and what feel like promotional things that just got added in, like maybe they were stretch goals or something to that effect. Or there's just so many different things in this box. I'm like, it's going to take me 4 or 5 plays just to experience everything, let alone learn how to efficiently use it in the game. And so I still feel like, I've played the game 3 times now, and I feel like I'm still just on the cusp of experiencing only a fraction of what the game can offer me. So it's something that I'm looking forward to. I'm super glad that we did buy it, because we both really enjoy it. And it's one of those games where I'm glad we got the deluxe edition, because it just has so many different cool things about it. But we're really enjoying this game. It looks beautiful. It's got a beautiful aesthetic. It's got beautiful artwork, beautiful graphic design. The only thing I'm kind of middle of the road on is all of the sous chefs that come. And I do like the fact that they came in 3 different colors for the 3 different sizes, but there's a lot of sous chefs in this game, and it's like finding the right one is a game in and of itself sometimes when you're putting that thing out. So, but that's my only real nitpick with the game. Everything else is like super well done, and we really enjoy the mechanisms, and it's just a great game. So we're enjoying it. That's Critter Kitchen.
Yeah, it's funny because I knew nothing about it, right? So when we're putting together Dice Tower West, Tom starts me off with the hot game list, games put on there, because of course, that's his job, that's what he does, and he knows, all that kind of stuff. And he mentioned this game, Critter Kitchen. I had never even heard those 2 words put together. You know what I mean? So I knew nothing about the game, never heard of it, knew nothing about it. But we got it. And having to punch it, like you said, or get it ready, all the different that tray, and you have to play with the pieces to put them in, because they're not labeled, and there's so many, right? And so there's a lot of components, very, very nice. But it was a very highly played game at Dice Tower West. It was, I think we had 2 copies out actually.
Yeah, you had two tables right next to each other, right in the middle of the hot games area. Yeah, we the deluxe version came with um, a diagram of where all those things went in that huge sous chef tray.
Right. Yeah.
So that helped a lot. But even with that, um, all of the things that we counted, there were uh, those little packets of that keep the moisture out of the packets.
Yeah. The little
Those little
silica gel thing.
silicone gel packs.
Yep.
There were 36 of those things
Wow.
in the game, and there were, I think, 42 plastic baggies that, because of the game trays insert, I'm going to be using in other games.
Right.
We don't throw them away or anything like that. We keep them so that we can have them for other games that don't come with plastic baggies or what have you. But some of them were so small, like a bag that's this small that has one piece in it and a silica gel pack, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know, right?
come on.
I don't think we've talked about it before, but I'd like to brought up and what it is, it's a discussion sort of about winning, right? About winning, I guess what it means to you, what it means to other people. If some people are highly super focused on winning, how much it matters. And
Yeah.
one of the reasons I'd like to talk about it, because, and I don't know how you feel about this, and maybe you can tell me your thoughts. But to me, like I'm one of those kind of people. I just need to do my best. Whether I win or lose,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter, because I'm going to feel the same like as I did 5 minutes before we started the game or 5 minutes after, whether I won or lost. It does not matter.
Yeah.
But winning, some people are just so, I don't know, proud of it, hyper focused, and I'm just like, in my opinion, in my life, it's very, very rare, just the way I play games and whatever, that whenever I play a game, it's very rare that all, say, just four of us for a 4-player game are at the same level, right? And what I
Right.
mean by that, it's like somebody has played 3 times and they're teaching the rest of us, or somebody
Mhm.
has never played and somebody a couple times. But it's never where I've played 10, you've played 10, you've played 10, at least 10. We're all blah, blah, blah. Okay, to me, at that point, you can sort of count the win, because you were all at the same level, if you know what I
Right.
mean. That's
Yeah.
just sort of my outlook on it, kind of.
Sure. Yeah. Well, let me give you an anecdote that kind of puts you on the right path, the right trajectory to understanding how I look at winning,
Okay.
and its importance or lack thereof. Um, when I was uh, when I was a youth pastor of the church down in Florida, where I was also teaching at the school and also doing stuff with Tom for the Dice Tower, before I stepped down from the school, I was trying to put together a men's recreational league softball team for the church, and we were going to try to join the local, recreational league for men's softball. So naturally, the baseball coach for the school, the high school boys baseball coach, was a member of our church. So it's like softball, baseball. Okay, there's a connection there. It's basically the same game, right? Just how you pitch and all this other kind of stuff, the kind of ball that you use, whatever. So I ask him, I say, hey, you want to join? Are you interested in joining the men's softball team? We're going to, and his first question is, are we going to win? And I was like, I have no idea. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't even know who's going to be on the team yet. And he said, well, if we're not going to win, if we're not going to try to win, then I don't want to play. I was like, okay. You're not going to be on the team. Good, cool. Thank you. Bye.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, it's about camaraderie. It's about coming in and enjoying the sport, enjoying the time with other guys. It's not about winning. Now, if you are a paid professional, you better be about winning, because that's what you get paid to do.
Of course.
But if you're joining a recreational softball team, and you yourself are well out of your prime, busting your butt to try to win, you're going to break something.
Yes.
Because that's what I did. I broke the small tibia in my leg. I was overweight, playing for my softball. I tried to slide into third base when I had no business trying to slide at all.
Right.
Caught my foot on the bag, broke the small bone in my leg, and whatever. So here's my thing about winning. It is so not important.
I agree.
So not important. And I'm going to seem like a jerk here, but I don't care what your reasoning is about wanting to win. It does not matter if you win a board game or not.
However, Sam,
so my definition of winning, let me get to it. My definition of winning is, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the time playing the game? You may not even enjoy the game. Did you enjoy the experience of playing the game with the other people at the table? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you've won.
Well, so here we are. So we are on the same page, right? I agree with everything you're saying, and I feel the same way, that it does not matter. Yeah. However, we both just have to admit and agree that to some people it really does. And what I've wondered, and again, I really have wondered this about those people, right? As I'm driving home after a game night or whatever, blah, 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 I'm wondering, like, are those people like going home and being like, yes, I won? Like, are they like relishing it? Like, why is it so important? Like, I'm wondering, like, you know what I mean, right? To those people that winning is important, what are they doing with it afterwards? Because I don't know. Like, if I like, and I mean this, if I win or lose, again, 5 minutes after the game is over, I don't care. Like, whether I won or lost, it means nothing in my life. Like you were saying, the time I had playing the game with the people and all that kind of stuff is what matters. But the people who I just wonder what on their drive home or when they get home, are they logging it or, oh, honey, you wouldn't believe I won.
Well, I will say this. There have been times where I've won a game and that memory sticks in my brain pan. And the reason it sticks, though, is not because I won. It was because I pulled this thing off that I had been trying to do for the last 3 turns. I pulled it off and it helped me win. So it was like there was this connection to an epic thing that happened in the game. And that's why I was excited about winning. It wasn't about the fact that I won. It was just about the fact that I was able to pull this thing off that I'd been trying to do. And it was really cool that it to me at least. But even then, who cares that I won? I just got to do the cool thing,
Right.
So to answer your, I don't know. I don't know. I know that sometimes, it's different for all people. I think. I don't think that we can actually put our thumb on what must be going on in their minds whenever they win. Sometimes, and it could be a pride thing. I'm better than these people because I was able to best them in a game of intellectual skill. It might be for somebody else just a feeling of accomplishment because they've started out playing that game and they've tried to become better. And now that they are better, they're able to post better scores. It could be just a sense of accomplishment. It could be a number of different things. I don't know, but there is, I think our society attributes, at least in part, to the idea that if you win something, you are better than the people that lost the game. And that's an unfortunate thing because it's just untrue. Let me say this. You might be better at that game, but that doesn't necessarily make you a better person.
Of course not.
For having one.
Right. But also, have you noticed, because again, I've wondered this a lot, and to me, it just illustrates or shows how important winning is to people, or how that's sort of the foremost thing in their mind. Because, and this is, and I know you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When you ask a question and you don't get an answer to your question, and this is exactly, this happens so many times. Hey, how did you like the game? Oh, I won. Well, wait, that's not my, I didn't ask you that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But
Yes.
people do that all the time, right? When you ask them, hey, how did you like the game? Did you enjoy the game? Oh, I won. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like that's, I asked you a yes or no question.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care whether you won or lost. Did you like the game? What do you think about the game? Oh, I won.
Correct.
And that, to me, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's sort of first and foremost in their mind, winning or losing, and not answering my question. You know?
Well, and again, I think part of that is attributed to, and again, I've said this myself. Being a soccer coach for a while, being on football teams and different kinds of sport programs over my life, and the whole idea that that losing isn't fun. Is it fun to lose? Well, and it's more fun to win than it is to lose, that kind of idea. So if somebody asks you, did you have fun? I think often, maybe not all the time, but often the first thing will come up. Well, I didn't win, so it must not have been fun. But I disagree with that line of ideology, because you why for example, why do people that play professional sports do it? Well, because they get paid millions of dollars, maybe, but you don't see all of the work, and I mean really hard work, that goes into being able to be at that level in the first place. So why do they do all of that hard work? Is it just for the money? More often than not, you'll probably find that no, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that they enjoy that sport so much.
Right.
For the love of the game is the I guess the colloquialism that would get thrown around in that specific. Why do you try so hard? Why do you try? Well, do they want to win? Yes, they do, but they also love the sport, and I think some of that needs to be instilled in board games a little bit. There is definitely part of that geek culture, because I hear it coming out of my son's plural room every once in a while whenever they're playing their video games, and that is that assertion or that dominance within the game, and you're wanting to flaunt that assertion or that dominance within the game, and that becomes your reason for playing if you're not careful, and that's just not cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't, if and it doesn't take long for people to get to catch on to it, right? If I sit down at a table and we play a game together, and the whole time you are just trying to assert dominance over the table, it's only going to take a couple of games before I think I'm done playing with you.
Oh, yes.
Because
Absolutely.
that's not what this should be about. This is a recreation. This isn't an exercise in dominance over other people. So,
and you have to think about other people at the table during your game, right? So,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And we might be reading too much into it, but that's for the sake of the conversation, I think, more than anything else, because I'm sure that there are many times where if you're losing, you're going to feel like you're being dominated. Doesn't matter what the other person is thinking in their minds. For example, I've run into it in playing Blood Rage, and people will say, three of us are past 50 points, and one person hasn't passed 25 points yet. And I can't speak for the other people in the game, but in my mind, I'm thinking, what can I do to help them do better? I don't even care if they beat me. I just want them to do better so that they can understand the game better. I don't care if I lose or not. As a matter of fact, people have asked me many times, so how many times have you won Blood Rage? And I'm like, I don't know. Because more often than not, I usually don't win. I usually come in second, maybe third,
Right.
because I take that ideology or that vector of trying to explain how the game works when I'm teaching people how to play it. I don't
Right.
care if I win. Do I want to win? Yes. And have I been stuck in games where I feel like people were just picking on me because they didn't want me to win? Yes.
Oh, of course.
And
Yeah.
that's just the way it goes. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not speaking from an ivory tower here, but overall, my general vector whenever I'm playing a game is I want people to enjoy themselves.
Yes.
And
And again, yeah, I was going to say, when you're talking about dominance, one of the things that I've noticed sometimes, again, where I think people need to sort of get out of their own head and understand what's going around the table. And when
yeah,
you said dominance, where that really hits me sometimes is, and I'm sure this has happened to you, where you'll be in a game and say you're all at the same level, right? You
yeah,
guys know the game well, all that kind of stuff, and you're on the last turn or whatever. Somebody's ahead by 50 points. There's nothing that's going to happen that they're not going to win the game. They know it. Everybody knows that you're going to win the game, but they're still min maxing, and
yeah.
it's like, come on, like, and that it's like, listen, like, why are you doing that? Like, just like,
Well,
like,
I think now again, I totally understand what you're saying, but I think it goes back to something that you were doing. Maybe their mindset is, I need to do my best.
I get
I need
that,
to do the
but
best.
what I'm saying, Sam, and I think we would both agree on this. I know we've both alluded to it. I get that, right? We're all
Mhm.
different, so I can't
Yeah,
cast aspersions or my judgment on other people. We
yeah,
get that, but you, in my mind, you still have to sometimes put the group it ahead of you and be like, yes, I would really like to do this because I got a great combo coming up and to do my best. I would really like to do that, but for the enjoyment of everybody else, let me not, because I'm going to win anyway, and let's just move on and get the game over with, right?
read the room. Read the room.
Yes, read the rooms. But I get that. People may really want to do their best, and you just have a super duper combo plan. You just want to get out, and you need a couple more minutes to think about it. I understand that. But you know what? Put that aside. Think about
Yeah,
all the rest of the people at the table.
yeah.
So, yeah, I just realized I haven't had my mic in front of me the whole time.
That's fine. It'll be cool. It'll be fine. I think I haven't had a trouble. I haven't had trouble hearing you. So
Yeah, okay. But again, the last thing I want to say, yeah, we all have our personal things. And again, like with me, when in my performing life, when I say what about playing games, just about doing my best, like I've done shows, right, where being a little bit hyperbolic, standing ovation, everybody's loving it, clapping, blah blah blah. I get off stage, I'm like, oh man, that show sucked. That was horrible. I missed this. I didn't do that. I forgot a line, blah 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 blah. But yet the
yeah.
audience loved it. And then I've
Mhm.
had other shows where I get done and I'm like, yay, and the crowd is like, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
All
you
flat.
guys should be kneeling, you should be bowing at, like, I'm Elvis. You know what I mean? Elvis, hold my beer. Like, I had the greatest show of my life. You know what I mean? And they didn't appreciate it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's one of those kind of things that I'm just more concerned about me doing my best, whether I win or not. Because even like last night, I haven't won Galactic Cruise all 3 times I played, or
Yeah.
most of the games I play, I don't win anyway. But I just
Yeah.
like improving. I like doing my best. That's just me, right?
Yeah.
And that's where my enjoyment comes from.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we all garner enjoyment from a lot of different places. You usually want to do well. You usually want to do nobody wants to feel less than everybody else. So everybody wants to do their best. Everybody wants to have a good showing. But we have to get to the point where we understand that winning is not of second importance. It's like way down the list
Yes. Yeah.
of things that are important. It's not even close. I think I think you would be able to consider yourself a winner much more viably if everybody at the table had a great time and everybody has a smile on their face. Nobody is, oh, I wish I could have done better. That kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I think that's a much better barometer for winning, for success, than the point total is.
Absolutely. And Sam, that is absolute great way to sort of end this topic or close it out.
Mm.
And I agree with you 100%. And we both agree the same way that, yes, to me, a win is a win for everybody. If because we've talked about this before, what's that term? The social contract, right, or whatever.
Yep.
Like we talked about this, we talked about this all the time because we both kind of feel the same way about it. You're sitting down at the table, the group together. The win is the group as a whole, right?
Yeah.
That to me, that's and I think you're the same way. When we sit down at the table to play a game, that's what I'm looking for, the win, right? Like if you win the game or lose the game, who cares? It's the win for the group, for the social contract, for the time you're together. Absolutely. That's a great way to
and all those people would be saying right now, that's what losers say.
Yeah. Exactly right.
You're a couple of losers. That's why you think that way.
When they're watching this, that's exactly what they're going to be saying. That's so funny. That's so true. Oh, man. Oh, but Sam, it's been great as always. But I just want to remind you, unfortunately, folks, I'm going to be off for the next 2 weeks because I will be away playing games. Yay! I get to play
the gathering, yeah.
I'm so excited for that. But as always, Sam, it's been great. Have a wonderful time up there in the Pacific Northwest. I know you got a lot of activities and stuff with the kids. You said, extracurriculars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be going to, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be going to Comic-Con, which is up here at Comus Meadows Christian Retreat. And it's just a weekend, like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of just playing games. And I'm going to be the speaker, and it's going to be fun. It's I'm looking forward to it. But that's just like a little mini thing, a little mini board game retreat. We're having a blast.
Great. Well, thanks again. And listen, everybody, again, what Sam and I both kind of agree on in the way we live our life, like to play games, is, hey, everybody out there, just win in life, right?
Yeah.
Just win in life.
Win in life.
Be a winning person. Be kind.
Rewind.
There you go. Yes, absolutely. All right, folks. Well, until next time, I'm Tim from Las Vegas.
I'm Sam Healey from the Pacific Northwest.
All right, take care, everybody.
See you on the flip side, folks.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.